You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrivetime Business Coach Radio Show.
Oh, yes. Yes and yes, Thrive Nation. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Ask Me Anything. And on this show, we have kind of a change in format because we've had many people that have reached out and said, hey there, buddy. We hear you interview other people, but when are you going to be interviewed? And I thought to myself, well, that's probably a good idea. And so now here we are doing a show where Jason Beasley, the super manager of the Elephant in the Room, gets to ask me any questions that he would like. And then Andrew gets to one-up him with even better questions there. So it's sort of like the Andrew Bloomer, Jason Beasley edition here of the Ask Me Anything segment of the Thrivetime show. So, Jason, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Okay, what tough questions do you have? I have not seen these questions on purpose, so that way I cannot formulate anything premeditated. It's all going to be just wrong and accurate.
Oh, yeah. Paint you in the corner.
At the same time. Just answering all the questions the wrong way, but the right way. Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
What's question number one?
Question number one is a generic question.
Sure.
But it's a question that I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. So it's, who is Clay Clark, and how does he define himself?
I'd say business comedian, business coach first, business comedian second. Artist guy who has to repress his artistic desires 2/3 of the day. That's what I'd say. I mean, if business goes, I love comedy, and I would be a comedian if I wasn't married. I'd probably do stand-up comedy.
You should be a comedian.
I would do that. But it's like more of it's just not conducive for the family. And I love growing a business is very easy for me. So it's always been easy for me. I just look at it very linear. I usually don't get a lot of emotional. My emotions really very rarely ever get in the way of me getting stuff done. So the business coach, business comedian, and then I just have to say, art is something I do. I love. Yesterday I was working on lyrics with a client of mine for a long, long time. Way more than I should be, but it's a lot of fun. And I'd rather do that than go bowling or watch a movie or something.
Definitely more than bowling.
Yeah. Now, as far as a dad, to wrap up that question, I guess, as far as a person unrelated to business, I'm a father of 5 kids. Definitely am a husband and very, very much committed to our marriage. And to me, my number one goal, and as it relates to business, is to mentor millions. And as it relates to the family, is to stay happily married. Happily married. Not just married, but stay happily married until I get hit by a bus. Are you ready for your next tough question?
I am ready for the next tough question.
Okay, hit me up. What do you got?
So you are DJ extraordinaire.
Yep.
But how did that start? Like, what made you decide that being a DJ was your calling?
There was a school. The one thing, and Andrew, you've probably seen this, I get stuck on an idea, and I will obsess on that idea for like a decade. Yeah. So, or, at least several years. And so, just a couple examples. About a year ago, not a year ago, maybe 7-8 months ago, I got really stuck on this idea of Kanye West and Donald Trump and how they have the almost same worldview.
Yeah.
Although their politics could not be more different, but they have the same worldview as it relates to business. And I love their tweet exchange and their brotherhood of the dragon energy. And where most people might go, okay, cool. I say, I can write a book about that. So I've now been researching nonstop, and the book Dragon Energy comes out. It's Kanye, Trump, and the mindsets they have and all super successful people have, and I just get stuck on that. So the DJ thing, I was attending a school dance. I was probably 12, and it was called the SAD Dance, Students Against Drunk Driving. Have you ever been to a SAD dance, by the way?
I've been to a SAD dance, but not an SADD dance.
Not a Students Against Drunk Driving dance?
Never.
Let me tell you what. That dance needed some more cowbell. I mean, it was rough. I mean, it was a thing where if everyone was there, the DJ gets there, and he's got the big speakers, he's got the lights that say the name of his DJ's FM radio station, and this I'll just kind of impersonate the randomness with which he would DJ. It was so terrible. It was like this. It was like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next year, we're going to be playing Ice Ice Baby, because that was the hit. That was the jam. So it's like, doom, 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 doom. And everyone knows it. Let's kick it. Doom, 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 doom. So anyway, all the guys are rapping along, too. We're having a good old time. And then all of a sudden, it's like, All right, up next. If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? And we're like, we're not feeling that at all, but okay. So now we're kind of getting into our inner redneck. And they say,
Right.
all right, everybody, now we're going to play Casey and JoJo. All my life, I pray for someone like you. And then you're like, okay, that's good. But you had a rap song, then a country techno song, and then you had a All My Life. And he's like, all right, now we're going to play Into the Road. And you're like, okay, I like Boys to Men, but why are we? There was no way to get in a groove.
Right.
You couldn't get in a groove. You could not get in the groove. So all the guys, and I don't know how your school dances were, but all the guys start gathering along the perimeter of the gym. No one's dancing, except for the one cool kid.
Right.
And no one's dancing. And all the girls are out there kind of dancing. And so the guys begin to go, I wonder if I can touch the rim on the basketball goal. So this becomes like it's almost like we're kangaroos competing to win the affection of kangaroo females by showing how high we can jump. And so a couple buddies and I were, at the age where we could, grab the rim or whatever, rim grabbing, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? This is weird. So I'm like going to this dance. I think I was 12 or 13, and after the dance, before the end of the dance, it's like the last song. And then every guy's like, oh my gosh, I should probably ask her to dance, And so all the guys are like looking for someone to ask, and we all ask someone to dance for the last song. It's kind of weird because your parents are showing up. They're kind of looking like, is that you, Billy? Is that you? What are you, And so you're dancing with a girl, like, your arm length apart,
right.
and you're kind of trying to do a magic trick, kind of a David Copperfield. You're trying to over here. Anyway, this is the whole thing you're doing, and then they turn on the lights and it's over, and you only dance really for one song. Wow. And I thought, God, that sucks. So we had our recap. Our student council has this recap. And they're like, all right, guys, how do you think the dance went? What can we do better? And it's a committee, so it's just stupid, Right. And everyone's like, well, could probably have better lighting. Someone else like, well, probably could have, different songs. Probably have different food, different pizza. We'd probably get better pizza at Casey's than we could at Pizza Hut. Well, probably. And they're just all dancing around the issue. So I put my hand up. It's Miss Page. And Miss Page, by the way, looked just like Lois from Superman, the TV show.
Yeah.
Terry Hatcher. Looked just like her. And I'm like, hey, Miss Page. Yeah. Everything about it was terrible. Like, it was terrible. And I could DJ it better myself if I wasn't even trying. If I just, showed up, it would be better. She's like, well, if you think you can do it better than the DJ we had, then you can do it yourself. If that's what you think you can do, because that's what you're saying here. Are you going to say in front of all the students here that you could do it yourself better? Yes. And that's what happened. Nice. So I committed to it. And she says, so we met privately, myself and her and one other dude. We met, and she says, okay, well, how are you going to afford the equipment? I'm like, I'll just do it. I got it. Done. Easy. Done. So I, worked out a deal where I said, typically we have about 200 students at every dance. And that's cool. But I want to get paid. How I want to get paid, I don't know what we pay that guy, but I want to get paid $5 per head for everyone who shows up after 200 people. And she's like, okay. I mean, we typically only have 210 kids that show up, So I made flyers and began promoting this party. And then I went all around town. I was 12, 13 years old, so I couldn't drive. I'm cold calling people, doing what I can do, getting rides with my youth leader. I ended up finding a guy named Oswald who's willing to rent me these massive speakers for a, he says, I work at a deal where I say, I'll just pay you a percentage of what I bring in. He's in a band. So I don't know how to do anything. I just got the speakers from him. I got that. And then I asked him if I could have it the week before so I could get used to him. And then I found out that you have to have a crossfader to fade between songs. I didn't even know what that was. So I got two 5-disc carousel CD players, one for my youth pastor, Mark Haugen, and then one that was just I had. And so I had the two. And then in between songs, I would take the RCA chords that went RCA into quarter-inch. Okay, they went from RCA out into quarter inches. And I just would physically unplug one CD player from the amplifier, and I'd plug that. I would plug the next one in. Nice. That's my transition.
Nice.
So I did that, and then I made a playlist of every single song I was going to play. I made the playlist of every single song, put them in order, and then I went out there, and I never DJ'd, and I stuttered a lot as a kid, and I thought about every announcement I was going to make and every song, and I had the whole thing planned out. So I was like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this sad dance, and we are going to make this sad. This sad dance is going to be incredible. How many people here are tired of dances being terrible? How many people? Okay, so I need every single person to get on the dance floor. If you have a soul, if you have a mind, if you have a body, I'm just working it. Yeah. People are like, I don't know what's going on, but we're all out here. And then I'm like, 1, 2, 3, and it was a let me clear my throat. And then we got a little crowd surfing going on, and there was like, I don't know, probably 1,000 people there. And so I made a lot of money, and then I don't remember the next song, but I remember like, how many people want to go to the next level? And it was already like crazy. It's the first song, and it just kept happening. And then Mr. Johnson, the principal, asked me to turn off the music because we had too many people dancing and crowd surfing, and I refused, and he kicked me out. And so I left early on my first gig.
Wow.
And it pissed me off because I thought, God, for the first time I've had a dance that's good. I made a lot of money here, and I walked home. I remember I walked home. My dad had to come and pick up all the gear, and I was like, "I'll pay you to take it down." I'm just walking. So I walked home. I walked home like miles.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, I remember my aunt was like, picked me up halfway. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, walking home. I freaking hate this place. And I went back, and I obsessed on how can I DJ again, but not at that dance because I freaking hate that principal. Hate that guy. And so I called up Mark Haugen, my buddy, my youth pastor, who's like 22 or something. And at this point, I'm like, I don't know. I obsessed this for years, dude. Now I'm like 14 or something. And I'm like, dude, here's the deal. I'm awesome on the mic. And you are older, so you can get into the bars. Like he's my youth pastor, but you can get into the reception halls because you have to be at least like 18 to get in because they serve alcohol.
Right.
So you could be my guy, and then you vouch for me, and you're a youth pastor, right? I mean, if you're a youth pastor and you say, hey, he's my guy, no one's going to argue with a youth pastor, right? And you're going to say that I'm like 18. He's like, dude, but that'd be lying or something. I go, I know, but that's how we got to get in.
Right.
So my entire DJ career started there. So Mark was called C&G DJ Service for Clark and Haugen, and the G was, I dared him one time to shave a G into his chest. He's the hairiest man of all time. And so he had shaved a G into his chest one time on a youth trip, and that's where the G comes from. So it's Mark, C&G DJ Service, and we would just go to weddings and just rock them.
Nice.
And I've got all my business from just like at church harassing every single person, like, hey, do you need a DJ? Or harassing people who are like, their birthday was last week, like, hey, you want to have a birthday party? Like, it was last week. No, you want to have one? Do you want to have a big party? And I got myself probably 20 gigs a year by just harassing people.
That's impressive, though.
Yeah, and then when I went to college at St. Cloud State, there's just there was like multiple rapes on the campus and a lot of fights and a lot of people stealing crap out of each other's cars. And I thought, I don't want to go here. I graduated from high school early, kind of, and like in Minnesota, if you have enough credits, you can go to college during high school. So I went to college my senior year, and I went to St. Cloud State, and I thought, state schools. Not only did we not learn anything that matters, I mean, I thought I was going to learn something that mattered, and I remember like I was studying multimedia, and I had a class about psychology, and I'll never forget I had a class about the Oedipus, and the Electra complex. Are you familiar with this?
I am. We had to take a psych class when I was in culinary school, and I thought, I don't know how this relates to cooking, but okay. And Freud.
Oh yeah,
he's a guy.
Well, again, this is what's really weird about it. I obsess on things. So I'm hearing about this Oedipus complex, and I was like, okay, this is a weird idea. I wonder what this is. He's talking, and I'm like, no, surely he did not say that. So I researched it, and the Oedipus complex is a term that Sigmund Freud came up with for his theory of psychosexual stages of development to describe a child's feelings of desire for his own. Like if you're a dude. He's saying that you sexually have a desire to get with your own mom. And I'm going, I don't really know that I've ever had that feeling. And then and I'm like, no way. I'm in a class learning about this. This is like a week about the Oedipus complex. Then homeboy moves on to the Electra complex. And the Electra complex is, it's horrible, but it's basically another term. This one was proposed by a guy named Carl Jung. And it's explaining why a girl has a psychosexual competition with their own mother to get with their dad.
Yep.
And I'm like, no. So I went to a state school, and I thought, I got to get out of here, And I wanted to get as far away from my parents as I could. And so I went to Oklahoma because I was born here, and I knew some people that lived here. And the guy I'd stayed in touch with, my best friend from college, from church growing up and stuff. His name was Mark DePetris, and he was going to go to Oral Roberts University. And I thought, well, then I'll go there too. And that's how I ended up here. And as always, 3, 2, 1, boom.